Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Fear the Walking Dead, Tim, Alonso. So bringing season 3 to the bridge, the mid-season finale, last 3 episodes, Red Dirt, The Unveiling, and Children of Wrath. You know, I'm liking this section of the show. I think the ranch has been an interesting place for them to go. I think it has led us to some interesting plot things, and also I'm not going to say, oh, no one's ever done this before, but I will say what this show is doing right now that's really interesting is this idea that conflicts that existed before the zombie apocalypse don't magically get wiped away by the zombie apocalypse. And so resentments and feuds and whatever, you know, if anything, only get more magnified when everyone is fighting over meager resources.
Yes. I mean, now there's no courts to make everyone play nice,
exactly,
like Jake was hoping. So the starting all the way back and working forward. In Red Dirt, Madison and the scouting party come back, barefoot and bloody.
Although within a few scenes, they're all standing just fine.
Yeah, everyone's got a little healing factor maybe.
Well, you know, I mean, not to jump ahead too much, but later when you know,
Nick gets over anthrax.
Well, that and Jake gets semi-scalped and doesn't even have like a scab on his forehead. But
right, there's no period of stitches. He's just.
Anyway, yeah, so they return from the scouting party to tell them what's been going on. People in the camp start panicking.
We learn a little bit more about the founders, especially Vernon, who now wants to leave, and with it is striking up panic and chaos and anxiety in the rest of people.
And so subsequently when they do leave, Troy kills them and makes it look like Walker did it, and Madison knows and is sort of complicit because, hey, you know, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
He doesn't really make it look like Walker did it though.
Not particularly.
Nick saw through that shit in a second.
Yeah.
He's like, this is obviously Troy.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to think, like, I don't know how you could trademark something to sort of make it, but yeah, no effort was expended in that department for sure.
But Madison's on board with that plan.
Oh yeah, no.
She thinks it's a great way to get people to stay.
She is. The level to which she is willing to be pragmatic just keeps expanding on this show.
To the sense that for a second I thought maybe she killed the Trimbles.
Oh wow, okay.
For just a second, and then she, talked it over.
But no, you're right. It's not necessarily out of character because it is about like they're literally circling the wagons not to keep people from without, but from within. You know, and so yeah, I that's again I think the dynamics here are really interesting. What they're exploring with. You know, again, if you want to look at these kinds of stories as little microcosms of here's how a totalitarian state works, you know, like they're basically turning this ranch into North Korea, if you want to take it that way, you know.
Except nobody really wants North Korea back.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's the idea that nobody gets to leave, and you know everybody's convinced that everything out there is terrible, and you're better off staying where you are, and you know that sort of thing.
The show really didn't explain why, and I'm sure I could think about it a little while longer and understand it. Why Madison is so set on not letting anybody else leave. Like I get that there's strength in numbers, and I guess I get that everybody puts. You know,
I think that's it. I think that if they want to hang on to what they've got, if they want to bolster themselves against this outside force that clearly wants to take it from them, they need the
manpower.
Exactly. You need like just warm bodies, and so yeah, she is, and it's amazing. And they touch on it every so often. Like you'll see the Ottos be like, you know, you don't run this place, but she has very quickly infiltrated and sort of understood what people needs. I mean, she is a very, very skilled manipulator.
Yeah.
And
Jake is not.
Jake is not so much.
Jake's not so much. So in the next episode, he goes with Alicia.
Yes.
To try to set up a parlay.
You're right, with the black cat. Yeah.
And he ends up leaving Alicia behind, and then.
And we get
things get worse.
Well, I know we get Ophelia back. She shows up.
Yes, she just is randomly there.
Yes.
And we learn why later.
Yeah, not I was randomly, hardly, but yeah. So and it's interesting because again, like you know, she was very clearly part of their group in the first season and a half, but now it's like. You know, they got separated.
She's got braids now, so she's Native American.
Well, I mean, look, there is obviously a case to be made for, you know, the Native Mexicans are first persons in the way that Native Americans are first persons.
He worked up on it
here. No, I mean it's that's a cohesion that makes sense. And so yeah, so obviously now she does feel torn and she does feel conflicted and she does feel like she has thrown in her lot with this new group, and so she doesn't necessarily have the same allegiances to the Clarks that she might have before.
We also get a nice little scene in this episode with Walker and Alicia. He's kind of like showing her the base of operations, which is a gas station. But they see the helicopter and they have this moment talking about Travis.
Yes.
And how apparently he's a Sith master now. He wants her to use the hate to understand how I feel. But it doesn't go so great. And they go over all the ancient traditions and stuff, and the cave and the unveiling, which is the Native American.
Yeah, the rapture,
of the
basically.
impure from the earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think what's also kind of cool here is that both sides have a point. I mean, they have a case to be made. I mean, you can agree with one more than the other one, but it's not just like I'm here to take everything and blah, like with the way it might be in some other shows. Like it's. There's not a clear sort of moral winner here, and so whatever happens, someone's going to get screwed. I mean, yes, obviously, I think the Black Cat have a better case for the most part, but still, we are where we are in this world where
there's no easy two-state solution.
Exactly. Yes.
You get the ranch or you get the ranch. Not two ranches.
It's interesting that you barely even have to have The Walking Dead in these episodes. Like they're almost sort of, you almost get the feeling that it's sort of like, okay, we forgot to write in The Walking Dead. We need to have, all right, we'll have some here, and we'll throw in some here, and we'll put some on the boat.
And we'll name a character Walker, so people remember.
Yeah, to make it confusing, I know. It's like, really, this show?
Well, I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to say Kalataka every single time.
Well,
Walker's easy.
Yeah, I suppose so. But speaking of the boat, Strand finds the Abigail, which I thought for sure was a mirage.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, no way, no fucking way is he gonna stumble upon the remains of that yacht, but he did.
I mean, you can make a case that everything that happened to him this episode is wildly fantastical and like isn't real.
That's true, yeah.
He talks to a cosmonaut in space.
After having,
that was
the better,
a cute scene.
Yeah, definitely. After having the better part of a bottle of Dom Perignon in 1985, yeah. One of my favorite parts in the last episode when Madison is basically telling Otto, look, you have to shoot yourself. That's the only way we're getting out of this alive for the rest of us, and that your legacy will continue. Where he talks about, oh, fuck my sons, one's a mewling crybaby, the other one's a chip off the old block, and I was like, wait. Which is which? Because they're both kind of both. I'm serious. I wasn't clear which kid he meant. Like, is it Troy? Is it? No, I guess maybe he's the, but
They have their moments.
I guess, yeah, definitely. But no, I thought that was a, again, very pragmatic moment for Madison. Her monologue about killing her father was very intense, and
yeah, that took me by surprise in a big way. Like I did not expect that to be the story that she told in that moment.
Yeah, but you buy it though. I mean, like it didn't feel like it came out of left field, and it scans with what we know about the character and her sort of willingness to, again, like throw in with somebody like Troy if it means, trying to keep themselves safe and keeping her family safe, which is her main priority. And I am biased. If y'all have seen me interview Kim Dickens on this show, she's an old friend of mine, but she's fucking killing it on this show. Between that scene and the scene with Otto and like a couple of other moments in these last few episodes, it's like Emmy clip. Like, I just think she's doing great stuff. And there was a story recently about how horror in film is the genre where women get to talk the most. Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
That they're actually, that they get to be the most sort of proactive characterizations and just be most involved with the plot. And yeah, it's true. Like horror is a place where women get to stand their ground and make decisions and say things and do things and
be the last one standing.
Exactly. Yeah. Final girl is a thing for a reason. Yeah. So I'm just really impressed with what she's doing here. Do you buy that as far as like Otto's death being the thing that would placate Taka and his people to back off?
It seems like he could placate Taka, but not all of his people. They don't get anything.
True.
I mean, the revenge story is pretty solid. Jeremiah killed his father and uncle and others.
So I mean that loop is sort of closed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like peace is struck at the end and everyone's happy. I don't know where the next season is going. I liked how this season ended in a nice, closed knot.
Yes.
It for sure ended a very neat story arc, which I like.
Yeah.
You don't often see that at a mid-season finale.
No, definitely. And yeah, it didn't just sort of feel like, cliffhanger. I mean, obviously there are more places for it to go. We're gonna find out like, how do Troy and Jake feel about this, and other things like that. But I mean, also what's interesting is, I mean, when you look at the number of people that are living on the Blackout at the moment, and the notion that the land goes 10 miles in all directions, it's not like they really need the ranch. It's more, I think it's about the principle of the thing. And so I think if now all the founders are gone, and he does respect Madison and her tenacity, I could see that them working out a peace. My one question about the ranch though is like, if you're in a ranch that's surrounded by that many sort of cliffs and high ground, it's like, wouldn't you extend out to there so that people can't just surround you? Because that's what was happening. Did you notice?
Yeah, the fires on the hills and the trucks coming over the
crest. They're all standing there looking down. I'm like, well, you're in a fucking ravine. Of course everyone's surrounding you and pointing guns at you. Super dramatic, but I'm just thinking from a standpoint of like, this is my land that I'm gonna defend against outsiders. Maybe I'm gonna build my fence on the high part and not the low part.
So Alonso's solution is to take more land from the Native Americans just so that
yes, that's right. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound, No, I don't know. It just is something that occurred to me. I'm like, yeah, it was a very cool shot, but I thought, why do they let that happen? But it's television. What are you gonna do? What else have we not talked about?
I mean, I guess we touched on the fact that Nick finds the skull under the house.
Yes.
We get the story of the founding fathers, how they came up with the idea.
And again, microcosm of the world at large. I mean, Alicia's so horrified to find out that they're living in this place that was taken away. And I'm like, Alicia, you were born in the United States of America. Like you've always been living on land that was taken from somebody else, probably through force.
I think she's just shocked to find it from her mother. I
suppose, yeah.
Like she is now, my mother is in on this. Like she is manipulating me.
Yeah.
A wake up call, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose, but I mean, I think, again, if you want to read into this as some sort of literary meaning, I mean, like we are all in a way sort of complicit in the acts of our ancestors if we have benefited from them, and I don't think this show is beating you over the head with that, but I think it's food for thought.
I also thought it wasn't terribly beating us over the head with the racism of the Ottos, although you can make a statement that it's pretty overt.
Well, I mean, there is that scene with Ophelia, the flashback, where it's like, yeah, sorry, you're not welcome at the ranch.
We don't have a lot of brown people.
Which was sort of touched on earlier, like people, the idea that she might even be sort of held prisoner on the ranch somewhere because Otto got her. But yeah, I mean, he basically like, yeah, here's some water, walk at night, you can't come with me, bye.
Yeah, which was, I mean, not really any worse off than she was had he not started shooting at her.
True,
like she was still gonna wander in the desert with no water.
But he had the opportunity to save her and did not.
Yes,
so that's a sin of omission, the Catholics call it. So yeah, he's a fuck.
But with Jeremiah dead now, then the obvious solution is like, hey, why don't you guys come live on the ranch with us? Strengthen numbers, you guys can have your land back. There's not a whole lot of racists in charge anymore.
I mean, that's a possibility. I think my impression would be if they've already got their own land and they've been able to keep it secure, they don't need to be in the ranch, like what's Ophelia's line? You can't sneak up on an Indian, So like if they don't have to have walls and they're doing fine. So if the white people need the walls, let them have it, and they can maybe have some swaps of resources of the pigs or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean I'm sure that option exists, but I don't know that they would want to necessarily take them up on it because I think they're okay where they are. So yeah, so we'll see where this is going. I mean, I'm assuming Strand is making his way toward them.
I don't know, the Strand's going towards anything.
Or he's just gonna have some wacky adventures on his own, I don't know.
He may not have a plan. All in all, I think it was a pretty good wrap up to the half season.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Lots of good action scenes,
yes.
some night raids and some spec ops stuff.
Yeah, no, I think these last few episodes were really strong because yeah, you're right, there was cool action stuff, there was interesting kind of character growth and revelations about people and things we didn't know. I thought the Ophelia flashbacks were woven in an interesting way that kind of, they didn't they sort of held back on some information until the right time, which was well done. Yeah, no, I think this has been a really strong season so far. I'm digging it. So, all right, they're taking a break and so are we, but when they're back, so will we. So hope you'll join us then. Thanks for watching.